In this lesson, we'll continue a review of PSAT Writing Test 2, Section 2. We're now on the third passage, Teaching the World to Swing. In 1924, when jazz trumpeter Louis Armstrong rehearsed with the Fletcher Henderson's band for the first time, he shocked Henderson by refusing to bond with the score as written and playing notes at whatever volume he wanted. So question 23, this is a diction question. What's the correct word in this context? He refused to bond with the score. Bond literally means to stick to, and that's we don't literally mean bond, so that's not the choice. Emulate really means to imitate or copy, and then we're down to adhere or cohere. Adhere is the word that we want. He refused to follow or conform with the score. And cohere, this is the root of coherent. It's to sort of be logically to make a whole, and so that doesn't fit either. The answer is C. The other band members who were used to playing standard dance music and meticulous, predictable arrangements purportedly responded to Armstrong's untraditional methods with skepticism and derision. Over a short time, though, Armstrong won over Henderson and the band with his undeniably brilliant musical talent. And so even though there's no question here, important to read it just because to get the main theme of the passage, there might be a question about the overall topic as well, and time usually isn't an issue for most students. All right, let's scroll down, and we've got a new paragraph. As band members grew to admire Armstrong's masterful improvisations, they in turn began to experiment with incorporating improvised solos of their own. And so we need to combine these two. Here we have before the period, as band members grew to admire Armstrong's masterful improvisations, right? So we have as, right? This is a subordinating conjunction. We couldn't put a period there. This is a fragment. We need to connect these two. And so after the comma, we need the subject. As band members grew to admire, they, the band members, in turn began to experiment. And so with the subordinating clause after the comma, it's always going to be a subject. It's going to be a noun or a pronoun. And so this is just a comma and a pronoun. So the answer for number 24 is D. In one of the earliest recordings of Armstrong playing with Henderson's band, the band mainly follows the standard written arrangement of a dance song. The exceptions are a couple of short solos, not only, and I'm just going to scroll down a little bit, not only Armstrong's performances, but also by saxophonist Coleman Hawkins. So question 25, the exceptions are a couple of short solos, not only Armstrong's performances, but also. Now this not only always takes a but also. This is called a correlative conjunction. And that means these two conjunctions always match up. And it's not just having the consistency, which we do. We have a not only and but also, but you always have to be parallel, the parts of speech after each one. We see the but also, it's followed by a by. And so that should be an indication we have to have a not only by. And if you look at the choices, it's got to be C, right? Not only by Armstrong, but also by saxophonist Coleman Hawkins. Also, too, in the beginning here, we said a couple of short solos. You don't really need to repeat solos in B and D anyway. That'd be redundant. And so this one is correct for a couple of reasons, but definitely correlative conjunctions follow the consistency. We need the by. The answer is C. And we'll do this last one, and we'll stop this video. Not long afterward, the group style transformed dramatically. A 1925 recording of Sugarfoot Stomp by Henderson's band features an extended solo by Armstrong, his trumpet blazing out against the saxophone backdrop. Band member Howard Scott recalls a particular night at the Roseland Ballroom. My goodness, people stopped dancing to come around and listen to him. The next thing, you couldn't get into the place. And so question 26, the writer is considering adding the following sentence right here. And even before you look at this sentence, you should be able to predict. You've got to pay attention, because here before 26, it's talking about the solos and the recording, right? A recording of Sugarfoot Stomp, his trumpet blazing. And then we've got a quote recalling that at a particular night at a ballroom, people stopped dancing to come around. There really wasn't much of a transition here, right, between the recording and performing in the ballrooms. And so look at this extra sentence. with these stunning solos, right? That's referencing the solos previous. Armstrong became a sensation with patrons of local dance halls, right? Now we have an introduction to make the transition, and then we have this quote, how people couldn't get into these ballrooms. And so you really need this transition. You can almost predict it, I think, just by reading it. And so the answer is going to be 2 yeses and 2 nos. Is it yes because it sets up the quote in the following sentence, or yes because it explains why Armstrong was skilled as improvisation? No, definitely A here, right? Because we have this quote about people couldn't get into the ballroom, and that sets it up and makes the transition. And so the answer for number 26 is A.